Good evening, everyone. My name is Otobon Williams. I want to thank God for my cousin Uwangfon. On Monday around 9 a.m. during the M3 meeting, that's mending marital meanderings, I got a note informing me that she had been kidnapped and I was expected to come home. I became slightly worried, and so I had to send a note to my shepherd. I informed him about the kidnap and the request that I come home. But I told him I really didn't want to go home. I'd rather stay in the meeting and talk to God about it. I came for my wife, not my cousin. He replied that I call home and find out how things were. So I stepped outside, took Sister Afyong's phone. Sister Afyong, just thank you for your phone. And I called home and I was told she went for a child dedication ceremony with a friend at a back local government. And that's all they know. And that Sunday, a naked picture of her was sent to her younger sister. And she had spoken to them on phone, telling them she had been kidnapped and a ransom of 500,000 was demanded. 500,000 naira, I beg, was demanded for her release. Or else her body parts will be used to recover the money and more. In that conversation with her sister, I think she mentioned to me that she Wangfon, and the men were at Imo State from her back. All I remember saying was, you guys should just have peace. I'll stop by the house later in the evening. And I ended the call, came back inside, and sat down peacefully. And first started thanking God for her. Thanking God that she can be kidnapped. While praying, I had an impression that it was judgment and it was well-deserved. I became genuinely afraid. I also remember the particular voice note that was circulated on WhatsApp some weeks back about these body part marketers. And images of my butchered cousin kept flashing through my mind. And knowing that if you had to shake my family properly right now, it would take some time to raise 500,000 naira. And also understanding that these men, I doubted they had the fruit of the spirit called patience. So being someone with functioning waterworks, I had to intentionally fight and hold back tears. But I want to thank God specifically for the teachings we have gathered in this house on prayer, because I knew how to pray. I stepped in and asked for mercy. You know how we know our siblings, we know their sins. I mentioned their sins, the ones I know. I know now that I'm born again, we barely talk, so I don't know a lot of things again. So the ones I'm aware of, I asked that mercy should please triumph over judgment. I prayed in the spirit while also learning the purpose of marriage. Brethren, while you were all praying that God should help you locate your spouses, I was asking that he helped me locate my cousin. You can't imagine how I was feeling when Pastor was now telling us about Otukoto. Now we remember the story where Pastor was talking about the hotel there in the east where one time they found body parts in the vehicle at the back. At that point, I told God, if that's your will, then so be it. I intentionally shifted my focus to the M3 meeting. If we are losing one female, please, let's gain another. After the meeting, I called him again, and by this time, I was told she was released. By release, she was thrown out of a keke. Online brethren is tricycle. The three, there's those in the abroad. She was thrown out of a keke on the streets that night, and she and her friend were looking for a place to stay that night. At this point, I had peace. I knew she would come home. So on Tuesday afternoon, I went home and I was told she was on her way back. About an hour later, she walked in and I hugged her while she stained my shirt with tears. After that, it was gisting time. So, brethren, let me gist you. She and her friend entered the bus with a teenage girl already inside the bus. At a back road, some distance into the journey, some men joined them, and that's all she can remember. Next up, she found herself in an uncompleted building with about 30 girls and some boys who, should I say men, who were carrying knives and weapons, just dangerous things. She was slapped a couple of times, but at least not like the way they slapped. According to her, she was less beaten compared to her friend and the rest of the girls. Some of the other girls, oh, sorry. Yes. And she was also on a menstrual flow, yes, a monthly flow. And one of the men said to her, "You get luck, say, our organ day. If I use this, your blood, do something." My cousin and her friend got there to meet others, and some more girls were brought in. But by Monday night, she and her friend, with the other girls, were released. Yes, without phones and accessories, but with life, clothes, and complete body parts. And even if some money was made off their head, my family didn't contribute a dime to it. I mean, where was it? Apart from giving you a Friday evening premium gist on the goodness of God, I also want to thank God for His mercy that goes before judgment. And for that same mercy that He allowed to flow in the direction of my cousin and family. And finally, for that mercy that endures forever. Amen.